Through the opening rounds of this World Cup, one strange story keeps repeating itself. The team that controlled the match was almost never the team that got what it wanted. Possession lied. Expected goals lied. And the scoreboard, again and again, told a completely different tale. Here are 4 games that captured it perfectly. It began with Spain, and a performance that looked like a faint shadow of the side that conquered Europe. Against tournament debutants Cape Verde, the European champions enjoyed 74% of the ball, fired off 27 shots, and built more than 2.3 expected goals, and still could not score a single one. So, what went wrong? Most of it traced back to who wasn't on the pitch. Without explosive wingers like Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams in the starting 11, Luis de la Fuente asked Gavi and Ferran Torres to operate on the flanks. And Gavi, stranded out of position, offered honest defensive running but almost nothing going forward. No threat, no creativity, no dribbles that mattered. With the wingers drifting inside, Spain needed their fullbacks to stretch the pitch. Yet too often the width and the penetration never came. The argument afterwards was simple. More natural attacking fullbacks, the kind who live to whip crosses in, might have prized open a packed defense. And through the middle, Spain badly missed a true number 9, someone to pin defenders and bend the block out of shape. With Mikel Oyarzabal drifting through the game, 5 shots and no reward, never quite occupying the space his teammates needed. Underpinning all of it was a whiff of arrogance, a sense that Spain had treated a World Cup fixture like a gentle warm-up, assuming their class alone would carry them. But to frame this only as a Spanish failure would be an insult to Cape Verde. A nation of barely 500,000 people, playing the first World Cup match in their history, defended with a discipline that never cracked. 11 men committed to closing down every gap. And in goal stood a 40-year-old named Vozinha, who produced the night of his life. 7 saves, several of them bordering on impossible, worth nearly a goal and a half of prevention all on their own. On most days, those Spanish numbers win the game 3-0. On this day, they won Cape Verde a place in history. If Spain's story was domination without reward, Turkey's was something far more damning. They went home early, with 0 points and 0 goals. A humiliation rooted, above all, in a mindset. Turkish football had talked itself into a kind of grandeur before a ball was even kicked, the team and the media hyping a run deep into the tournament and dismissing opponents who deserved real respect. That illusion became a weight none of them could carry. When Paraguay went down to 10 men and the goal still would not come, you could see the panic set in. A team more frightened of embarrassment than hungry for a winner. There were deeper problems too. For all the lovely technique of players like Arda Güler and Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Turkey were repeatedly outmuscled, unable to win the physical duels that World Cup football demands. A one-dimensional kind of talent, long on craft and short on steel. And the tactical plan, such as it was, never cohered. Little build-up from the back, no clear way to break down a deep block, just a reliance on isolated moments from Kenan Yıldız out on the left. And here, the numbers tell a crueler truth than the criticism alone. Because this wasn't a team that created nothing. It was a team that created plenty and squandered all of it. Turkey conceded the fastest goal of the entire tournament, just 65 seconds in, and then laid siege. 32 shots, comfortably more than 2 expected goals, the woodwork struck more than once, a header inches wide at the death. Across their 2 games, they piled up 62 shots without scoring a single time. A World Cup record nobody wants. The chances were there, the composure never was. And perhaps the most telling image of the whole sorry night came afterwards, when it was 21-year-old Arda Güler, the youngest creative spark in the side, left to face the cameras and apologize, while the experienced heads who should have led stayed silent. A team that needed leaders had handed the burden to a boy. From a side that dominated and lost, to a side that surrendered the ball entirely, and got exactly what it came for. Iran arrived against Belgium with a single, clear-eyed goal. Take 1 point, and all but book their place in the next round. So they ceded everything. Belgium had 70% of the ball, 23 shots to Iran's 7, nearly 2 expected goals to Iran's modest half, and it counted for nothing because Iran defended their plan to the letter, sitting deep and looking to steal something from set pieces and long throws. At the heart of it was the goalkeeper, Alireza Beiranvand, on the finest night of his career. 7 saves, calm and commanding, rushing off his line like a sweeper to snuff out danger before it could grow. It wasn't flawless. At right back, Saleh Hardani struggled badly, beaten again and again by Leandro Trossard, the clear weak point in an otherwise stubborn wall. And going forward, Iran barely had a plan at all. Mehdi Taremi was left to fight alone up front, 59 sprints with almost no support, while teammates too often chose a low-percentage shot over the simple pass. Even after Belgium's Nathan Ngoy was sent off in the 66th minute and the game cracked open, Iran refused to gamble. Their management so risk-averse that even the attacking substitutions changed nothing, because the underlying instruction never changed. Take no chances. And in truth, Iran were helped enormously by a Belgian meltdown, a side that panicked the moment the goals dried up, with even Kevin De Bruyne looking strangely sluggish and Romelu Lukaku heavy and out of rhythm. Iran didn't outplay Belgium. They out-organized them, outran them, and out-goal-kept them, and walked off top of the group. And finally, the favorite who escaped. On paper, Germany beat Côte d'Ivoire 2-1 and booked their place in the knockout rounds. In reality, for an hour, they were second best in almost every department. Côte d'Ivoire were the braver, better team, leading through Franck Kessié, dominating the midfield, and slicing through a German side that gave up counterattack after counterattack, as many as 10 or 15 of them by some counts. Germany's forwards, so ruthless against Curaçao only days earlier, now refused to do the dirty work. No tactical fouls to halt the transitions, a backline left horribly exposed, and a physical battle they simply lost. Their attack, too, was painfully predictable. Leroy Sané and Jamal Musiala forever cutting inside and recycling the ball backwards instead of attacking the touchline, playing straight into a narrow Ivorian block. It took Julian Nagelsmann 60, 70 minutes to react, far too long, but when the changes finally came, they rescued him. Fresh legs gave Germany the width they'd been missing, and the introduction of Deniz Undav as a second striker scrambled the Ivorian defense. Undav scored twice off the bench, the second a composed finish deep into stoppage time, a 94th-minute dagger that turned a likely embarrassment into 3 undeserved points. Côte d'Ivoire deserved more. Their right-back Wilfried Singo was a physical force the Germans seemed almost to fear. Their midfield 3 of Sangaré, Kessié, and Aholu ran the game for an hour, and out wide, Yan Diomande repeatedly tormented Joshua Kimmich and set up the opener with a searing burst of pace, even if his raw decision-making in the final third hinted at why questions still hang over his €100 million reputation. Germany won, but the expected goals barely separated the sides, and the performance left far more worry than reassurance. 4 games, 4 very different teams, and the same quiet lesson running through all of them. Possession is not penetration. Expected goals are not goals. A team can own the ball, the territory, and the statistics, and still be undone by a goalkeeper's inspiration, by a striker's panic, or by its own arrogance. Because in the end, this tournament keeps reminding us of the oldest truth in the sport. Control counts for nothing until it ends in the back of the net.